It's crude, it's trashy, it ain't too classy. It's Hangover Radio. Mark Solo!
Dom Torres!
Yes, it is the season finale of
Hangover Radio!
Season 1, guys. It has been a blast. And you know what? We're going to end with a bang. Okay, so Dom outdid himself this week. He got online. How did you even come up with this? Because we got a porn star we're interviewing today. Quite notorious porn star. She is a
AVN nominee,
which is like the Grammys for porn. Jeanie Marie Sullivan, that's her name. Wait, Dom, what made you think? Okay, I'm gonna email a porn star to get on the show.
Well, you know what? We all have fantasies of sleeping with the person we're jerking off to online. And I reached out to a few people of the adult entertainment industry and see if they'd be willing to come on the show. Will, her PR agent, was great. Shout outs to him. And he made it happen.
Yeah, and just this week's show is brought to you by Sober Hangover Cures, SOBUR.co. Guys, thanks for sponsoring the show. Just to throw that in there.
Exactly. Be productive.
I think we just launched straight into it. Let's
see what she's up to, dude.
Let's have a chat. Jeanie Marie Sullivan.
What's going on?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Glad to be here.
So, for those who may not have heard about you, tell our listeners what you do.
Well, I am a porn star. I work in the sex industry, and my job is to make people's fantasies a reality.
Now, what does the resume for that look like?
My resume is really, really long. I've been in for almost 9 going on 10 years. I act, I direct or co-direct. I've branched out into mainstream and tried to fuse certain music videos with porn stars. Done some mainstream acting. I like to sell sex. The whole idea of selling sexuality, and I just like it. I like it a lot. It's what I do best.
Right, so listen, we're going to play a little game with you. It's a word association game. So we're going to say a word or a phrase, and you have to say the very first thing that comes into your head.
All right.
All right.
Are you ready for this?
Yeah. So I'll start it off first. First word is hangover.
Ouch.
Sex.
Yes.
Feminism.
Sometimes.
Favorite position.
Doggy style.
Money.
All the time.
Children.
Eventually.
Quantum physics.
All the time. Necessary.
God.
Every day.
Dark secrets.
Lots.
Desire.
For everything.
Lust.
For everything.
Global warming.
True.
Naughty.
Yes.
Politics.
Sometimes.
I feel like you're recycling these answers, right?
Yeah.
No, it's like yes, I want that. I want that. Give me that.
I want it all.
I got the last one for you.
Okay.
Love.
Love. Necessary.
Okay,
that one was a good one.
Yeah,
That was a good one.
Yeah, you did good.
So a bunch of our readers send a ton of questions for you. So usually we would get you warmed up with just talking on our own, but since we have an overload of questions, we'll just jump right into the questions.
Well, first of all, I got a question for you. So what's the story? How's life? What's going on?
My life is better than it has ever been, and it's all thanks to the sex industry. I really came from kind of a dark place growing up, and somehow this industry has given me a platform to really bloom and kind of make something out of it and kind of celebrate it. So I can't even complain. I wish I could find something to complain about, but I can't think of a single thing.
I think it's good that you just went straight into it. You came from a dark place because I think it's good to start the interview. Just talking about how you got into porn. And first question we have is, when did you lose your virginity?
I was in junior high, and I was in a group sex situation.
That's pretty kinky.
Would you care to elaborate on that?
Sure. I was born in Vegas, and I kind of had parents in different towns. So I'd go to school in California, And I grew up like highly sexualized, I've seen showgirls, ballets, Jubilee, I just grew up around sex from Vegas. So I got lots of kids, like, I guess they're trying to flirt with me or whatever. And I wasn't taking it so well. I was like, well, then let's fuck. What are you doing? Like, let's do this. And then
it's like those guys that'll holler at a girl like, oh, you want to suck on my penis? See, they never think a girl's going to stop and say, okay.
yeah, I was like, sure, I'd like to get this over with. This virginity thing sounds like, I don't know. I don't know about if I want to be a virgin. I think I'd rather have the experience. So let's get underway. When I was young. And I was thinking to myself, well, I've got these 3 kids. This one pulls my hair that sits behind me. This one throws rocks. I'm just going to round them all up, and let's just get this over with. And that's, in fact, what I did.
It's funny that the guys who threw rocks at you and pulled your hair were the ones who turned you on, right? It's a bad boy thing. Girls like bad boys, right?
Yeah, because I was like, oh, you're challenging me. All right, that's attractive. Well, let's see if you got what you think you got,
Now, what did the guy that opened the door for you get?
And
pulled up the chair.
Actually, now that I'm a little bit older, they get all the respect from me. Because if you show me you're mature, that is just ultimately attractive. I like a man who's confident and sure of himself. That's the best, actually.
But when you were young, you liked the ones who slapped you around, who basically treated you like shit, and they were like, yes.
Yeah, I like the challenge. I was like, okay, I like the conquest. Why not? Let's go.
We're wearing T-shirts out right now for Hangover Radio, and the slogan is, "It's good to be bad."
That's true.
When it comes to picking up women, it's good to be bad. Unfortunately, it's true, but it's true.
Now, what made you want to get into the porn industry?
Well, I was born in Las Vegas, and like I said, I was just sexualized differently. I grew up watching the ads of these girls will be at your room in 30 minutes. My stepmom was a mail order bride from the Philippines. So I had like a civilian mom and then a sex worker mom. And my dad had a lot of girlfriends. And
Filipinos are nice though, right?
Yeah, man.
They're so nice.
I almost wanted to keep her as my real mom. She's just such a cool lady. So cool.
The last person we interviewed actually just moved over to the Philippines, and we had a whole it's not aired yet, but we had a whole podcast basically on how charming and feminine Filipino women are.
Yeah, he even found love in the Philippines not very shortly after moving in.
They're great. I mean, I'm bisexual. I would happily date a Filipino girl because they're good cooks, they're polite, and they're funny, and and just the right amount of submissiveness, without being like. Yeah.
Arr.
Yeah, I like them. They're cute.
So are you bisexual or?
Definitely. I like men and women. In a perfect situation, I like them together,
Well, we might as well skip on to that question while we're here. What do you think? Who do you think are better in bed, men or women, or do you think it's variety?
They each bring a different thing to the table.
Which one brings the bigger meal into the table?
A man.
What's that supposed to mean? What do you mean?
Well, she knew what I mean, dude.
That was about as subtle as a brick to your front window.
Okay. So, I remember my first experience in porn was accidentally flipping through the channels and seeing, I don't even know if this counts as porn, but the Girls Gone Wild thing. Do you remember your first experience with porn?
Absolutely. I was in junior high. This was, right after I had my little tryst or whatever. And I decided I wanted to delve a little deeper into my sexuality, and I picked up a copy of Andrew Blake, Decadence. That was the first film I had ever watched start to finish, and I went through like every emotion watching it. So it's so important to me. Really made an impression on me.
Was your first... Sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Was your first experience with porn your first experience with masturbation as well, or did it differ?
No, I was masturbating before I saw porn.
But I don't think you ever finished. We get back to it. How did you get into porn?
I had always wanted to work in the sex industry because I was familiar with it. The day I turned 18, I started dancing at a strip club called the Valley Ball. I was then recruited by the first agent in the adult industry called World Modeling, a man named Jim South, and Jim South Jr. runs or did operate that company. I don't know if they're around anymore, but yeah, I was recruited the day I started, and then I started the same day practically. I went right over to the agency. They said, we've got a booking for you, and that's how it started.
Wow.
Interesting. Did you have with what girl that wants to get into the industry? How does that whole process work as far as going to agents and production companies and all that?
I would just say that first of all, it has to be with your outlook and your attitude. You have to love sex to do this. If you don't love this, then it's not for you, you know. But if you do, I'd say it's time to go to there's a website called thefloatingworld.org, and it has a list of every single agent in the industry that's licensed and bonded. That's usually a good start for girls. And then if not, I'd just say start with my agency, ATMLA. And Mark is the owner of that, atmla.com.
There you go, girls. Question: do your parents follow your career?
Yeah, my parents know what's up with me. I've got some photos that my mom has conveniently cropped that are framed in the house that hang on the walls, for sure. Like from
She looks so happy in this picture. You didn't see what I cut out down below the waist.
When neighbors come over, she's like, "Oh my God, look at what my little Jenny's up to."
Right? Actually, all the neighbors know what I'm up to and support it. Like I'm really open about my sexuality, and I think a lot of people around me are cool with it if I'm cool with it, and it kind of allows them to be a little more easygoing about the subject. You know, if you put it out there, you break the ice. Hey, this is what I do. I'm really not ashamed of it. You shouldn't be either. And it kind of changes the dynamic of the people.
I mean, but has your parents ever watched any of your films?
You know what? I just picked up a DVD from her house earlier today for something I did. As far as watched it, yeah, I've shown her clips of stuff that I've done. You know, I mean, tasteful stuff, obviously. I mean, I'm not going to show her a DP or, you know, anything of that nature. But I do show her certain things. My mom's aware of my sexuality.
So the ones with scripts.
Sorry, guys. I'm so out of the loop. I haven't actually watched porn in 2 years, right? No shit. What's DP?
That is double penetration. That'd be like anal and vaginal.
Yeah, that's so fucking obvious. Mark is stupid.
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
No,
you're in the
nothing
business.
Stupid. Ask. All I gotta do is ask.
You're
of
in
course.
the business.
Those
You know, like the
terminologies.
DP, the RSVP.
It's a whole language.
It's
a whole language.
Yeah, is it?
Yeah, exactly. There's all these
Give us some
things.
slang words. So if I go to a party with a load of porn stars, I want to be down with the lingo. Give me some acronyms.
All right. DVDA.
Go for it.
Double vaginal, double anal. Or double anal, double vaginal.
So that means two in your vagina and 2 in your ass.
Yeah.
That's hardcore.
That's.
How about ATM? Ass to mouth.
Yeah, I did.
think I've heard that before.
I've heard that one.
How about this? Dine at the Y. It means eat some pussy.
Dine at the
Y. I like that one.
That's weird.
Yeah. There's all different kinds of things. I mean, and it goes even deeper to the sex trade. You know what I mean? Like they have other terminology. Like SW means streetwalker. There's so many different terms I could get into. That all have to pertain to
It's like the game.
sex industry.
It's
a whole language.
Yeah,
it's a language.
Have you ever heard of the book The Game?
By Neil Strauss.
It's like a pickup artist book.
No, I'm going to check it out now.
Yeah, but it was a bestseller. It was huge. It created this huge seduction community online where people go out, and it's like a scientific method to picking up women. And these guys got amazing results. But they have their own language as well. These kind of things like acronyms, and that's just interesting that you guys have your own language.
Which brings us to one of another questions that guys want to know is, what are the best ways to seducing or picking up a porn star?
Confidence.
Confidence,
you know?
guys. We hear it again. It's all about confidence. Yeah.
Confidence. I mean, if you're not sure of yourself, I sure as fuck don't want you. You know, you better be alluding to me that you got something going on that I couldn't possibly fathom. I mean, I better see that in your eyes, you know. And another thing is appearance. I hate to say it, but I'm not a very shallow person, but I'll tell you that a first impression is everything.
Yeah.
We judge you on life.
Hit the gym, guys. Hit the fucking gym. No one likes a fat ass, you know.
Right. Because if you're messy
muscles, get yourself
or disorganized, you know, how attentive could you possibly be sexually? Right?
Yeah.
Now, can you give us a little story on a guy that has successfully picked you up? or
That what didn't know who you were, or it was at a bar or something like that. She's gonna tell us. Some guy said hello to me once, and it was
Yeah.
straight to the
No,
bathroom.
You guys are gonna be shocked. I'm incredibly selective. Incredibly selective.
I'd say, well, I mean, if anything, it kind of makes sense though, because you basically meet the top tier, like, you know, males. You meet top tier males all the time. You're you know, guys with great physiques, handsome dudes. You're working with them all the time. So if you're choosing someone to mate with, you're obviously going to be more selective. I mean, that kind of makes sense in some way, you know.
yeah.
Yeah. Not to mention, I mean, I come from a kind of, I don't want to say, I'll just say, like, you know, a well-off background. I mean, I've had dark days, but I mean, the people that I come from are, you know, we're not doing bad. I'll just put it to you like that. You know, I'm not desperate by any means. So when I pick a guy, it usually has to do with, you know, I hate to say it, but I'm a little classist. You know, I want to know that you're educated. I want to know that you are, you know, you have a plan. I want to know that you're confident. And I want to know that you have a background story and friends. If you don't have any friends, I tend to get real weird. You know, like, you don't have anyone to speak positively about you.
Now take
I'm
a,
like,
Well, this is
reference.
all stuff that
So-
makes sense,
yeah,
right?
take us through a guy, like an approach from a guy that has successfully picked you up. You know, it could be a guy that picked you up at a bar and you ended up sleeping with, or a guy that, you know, got your number on the street and you ended up dating. Either one works.
The guy I'm currently dating right now, probably the biggest producer in the entire adult industry. His name's Mark Kramer. He did all the pirate movies. Okay. This guy was referred to me by the top agent, Mark Spiegler, one of the top agents in our industry, and he said, "Hey, I think you really will find an intellectual match with this person. You know, he's college educated and you know, has a background, and I think you two will hit it off." And sure enough, just the man was quiet, confident, intellectual, and he didn't expose the whole hand. He had mystery. Mystery.
That's a big one.
It's so sexy when someone's mysterious. Oh, it's so sexy when they have that type of discipline to not spill their guts when they first talk to you or see you or meet you or assess you.
Well, I presume you guys are in an unfenced relationship.
No, we're all right. I mean, we fight like anybody, but
No, an
we
unfenced
get along
as in
too.
you guys have no problem, like, you know, the other person sleeping with other people.
Non-monogamous, in other words.
No, we have no problem with that because he's been in this industry longer than I have, and it's kind of like, you know, someone calling the kettle black. You know, it's kind of like,
Yeah, it's like
you can't do
you're not
that.
allowed to do your job.
Right, right.
No, I'm
Exactly.
talking about, like, you know, sex outside of porn.
Sex outside of porn, believe it or not, he's really shy. You know, I, on the other hand, am bisexual, so I'm usually trying. It's great though. I like that he's shy. You know what I mean? Because I like to bring women home, and then like it's kind of cool because I can direct the nature of the sexual activity because of that. You know, because he's got sexual discipline. He's shy, and then whenever I bring a girl over, they usually know what's going on beforehand. I say, hey, this is what I'm into, and it's cool. It's like I feel like everyone kind of follows the rules. You know, it's not like I have an overeager guy, you know, embarrassing me in front of a girlfriend that I'll never get to bang again, you know, because he's too forceful or too forward. So
Well, you don't bring other guys home on your days off.
No.
like.
no, doesn't interest me at all.
And do you have
At
sex with guys? Well, I don't. Maybe you can't admit it on air, but do you see other guys on the regular outside of work apart from him?
No.
Okay, all right. That's what I wanted to get to. Yeah. Okay, so does sex feel like work at any stage? Like, what? How is sex different when you get home to when you're at work? Do you disassociate it? Is it the same thing? Did you struggle with that for a while when you started working?
Oh yeah, I struggled with that for years. Do you understand that? Like, okay, I have a religious background, or I came from a religious background. I had to abandon all kinds of values and morals and beliefs and love expectations. I had to be like, all right, you're never going to be in love. All right, you got to give up your faith, and you got to do this, and you got to do that. And it really took me a while to understand that, yeah, this is just a job, you know. And everyone makes mistakes or sins or does whatever, but it's about self-preservation also. So there is a lot of compartmentalizing and categorizing feelings for sure. But I'm comfortable now, and I almost feel like, and I don't want to sound egotistical, but it is work, but it's masterful work. I'm now confident when I come to work that I know what I'm going to throw down. I know I'm not going to put down some, failure product. I know I'm going to come and shine. So I really associate work and sex together, both as a positive thing. And sometimes when I do a really good job at work, I'll come home and have even better, more rewarding sex. It's kind of an interesting thing where they're tied together. If the sex is good at home, the sex is good at work.
Now,
that's interesting.
Yeah. Now, how often does an adult entertainment actress film? Is it once a month?
I'd say it's
twice
like,
a month.
how much times a day? More like probably. I don't know.
That's interesting. When I first got in around 05, I would shoot sometimes twice, even up to 3 times a day, and it would be every day. When I first got in, that was, like I said, back then, the golden era of porn. Now, I look for about 5 bookings a month.
Oh, only now. Okay. Right.
That brings us to the number one question every girl wants to know.
Yeah, we got many girls ask this question.
Every girl has asked this.
Hi, ladies. I love you.
We love you too. Now, Mark, tell them what the question is.
Okay, the number one question we got was, do you orgasm during work?
Or are you faking it?
Yes. Not always. Not always. I'm going to let you guys know it's only happened a few times, genuinely. Okay? Only a few times. But it does happen.
But
like,
more
I'll
often
just tell
than
you,
not, no.
Danny Daniels. You guys, if you know anything about Danny Daniels, that is a girl to watch. Because, she was able to make me come without any hesitation. It was completely natural. Like we were at home and no camera was even on us. It was great.
Okay.
It was great.
Like,
For ALS scan.
I'm going to call her right now.
Yeah.
We are Googling.
It's on ALS scan for, that muscle dystrophy type stuff. Well, there's a porn website that gives, I think almost 100% of its proceeds to the charity. So that's alsscan.com. You can see Danny Daniels give me a genuine orgasm. Oh, I was so happy.
And help the planet.
And help the planet. There you go.
Right. That's right.
So, yeah, but more often than not, no, but yes, you have.
Yes,
okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. That's fair answer. Now, another question that readers want to know is, do you have any secret talents? Now, this can be relating to sex or not related to sex.
Do you speak Spanish? That kind of thing.
Do you juggle?
Do you collect stamps?
Collect stamps? That's not a talent, dude.
I know it's not.
I have hobbies.
Yeah, go for it.
I draw. I love to draw, like photorealism, like murals. I really like to draw, especially in black and white, like graphite pencil. I collect lingerie, like really fancy satin and silk and all kinds of lingerie. That's a big fetishy secret of mine, is that I love lingerie and I like high end, like ruffles. Anyways, I'm in my closet looking at it. Let me get out of here. Silk and ruffles and satin. I love that type of stuff. And I draw, and I also, I love music. I'm trying to get involved in it more. I was assistant director on a music video recently. I'm just an artist. If I could define myself, or like a hobbyist or whatever, or an amateur professional, I'm just an artist. I like to create, and I like to stimulate moods. It gives me this feeling of power and control, and a certain air of confidence that makes me really walk tall, and exude a certain type of confidence that I find attractive in others.
Now, you mentioned you like to collect lingerie. Have you ever sold used lingerie, which I see a lot of girls getting into now? I know you have as well.
Yeah, one of my ex-girlfriends used to sell her lingerie on Craigslist for like $200-300 a pop.
And she's actually outside this room.
And no, wait, but the thing is, she's not a porn star. How much does your used underwear fetch online?
I don't sell mine. I'm too attached to it. I'm too like.
Oh yeah, I
I'm
forget.
too much
I
like a
forget.
collector. I'm like.
You're a lingerie
It's
addict.
a secret talent, dude.
Yeah, I'm not sharing. It's mine. That's how I feel. I'm like, I suppose I could.
How big is your lingerie closet? Jesus.
It's not that big, but it's full of really high-end pieces. Like there's like, 10, 15 high-end
Okay.
pieces.
Quality, not quantity.
Now, are
Right.
you shopping at like Victoria's Secret, or are you going to?
No.
No?
I'm exclusively at Trashy Lingerie in Beverly Hills.
Arr.
I used to work at Pink myself once
Okay.
upon a time. Now,
I'm exclusively over there at Trashy in Beverly Hills because they dress all the playmates, all the Playboy bunnies. And I love that aesthetic, that 90s porn star, that 80s porn star. Ugh, I love that.
What is your most embarrassing moment?
Embarrassing moment.
on set and off.
Yeah, that's good. On set and off. Oh, you can tell where
Oh,
yeah,
we're
she
about to hear
did.
something. We're about to hear something bad. Go on.
It's not attractive though. Like I don't want to. All right, so I just started getting into anal. Okay, at one point, this was when this was happening, and so I really didn't understand that you needed to kind of gauge the size of dicks that go in you. I was just kind of like, do it, throw it in, fuck it, go, just go. And
What do you mean gauge? Like, as in, do some
I now have an anal.
stretches beforehand or something?
I now have an anal training kit, which is the appropriate way to handle it, which is like different size
Pro tip, girls.
little pegs.
Anal training
it's,
kit.
Right. and
Yeah,
it's 5
you got to get the beads, right?
And the beads are the easiest transition, in my opinion. Yeah, the beads. Beads are easier than plugs, but you got to work the plugs if you're going to know how to walk onto set confidently and be like, I can take that dick. I've been into level 5. You know what I mean?
I know
I've
what
been
level
to,
5 is.
Yeah.
Do they have levels? Is there it's like a video game in porn?
It's level 3 is
I'm
like
I'm anal level 3, bro.
level 3 is
like
like an Asian man's penis. Level 5 is a white man's penis. It keeps climbing up.
yeah.
You guys would not believe the size. Like the biggest one's a fist. You know what I mean?
Oh,
That's just the truth.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Well, no, maybe I'm exaggerating, but no, I'm not really.
No,
I'm holding
like,
it.
No, I was
Great.
thinking actual fist.
Well, not
Like,
your
yeah.
tiny fist, dude.
Check it out. I'm holding it now,
my fist.
and my hand
Right
is
one.
almost not able to touch. Like the fingers are not able to wrap around it,
Damn.
almost. So yeah. It's
So
rather luck.
basically, your most embarrassing moment,
Well,
you misgauged one time.
yeah. So I was walking, and I thought I was cute. I was like do 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 do, and then it slipped. A little fart slipped, and I was nervous. No one heard it, but I heard it. And I was like, okay.
Wait. What?
Yes, a little fart slipped, and I was embarrassed. No one heard it.
Wait, while you were on set.
Yeah, because you stretch the muscles out,
So you're like,
And
yeah,
after you
give it to you.
Yeah,
can
no
take
one's.
it.
Hey, look, it happens all the time,
I mean,
especially
it's
with
like queefing, right? It's not so bad.
when I first started doing anal. It just was
It's
embarrassing
not
because
bad. I thought he was gonna pull it out and you shit all over his dick.
oh no,
That's not bad. A little fart. Come on. God. You're
but
useless.
it let me know that I need to exercise the area after you perform. Once you stretch that out, that area out, you do need to actually squeeze your butt cheeks together to put it back to its like right elasticity. Yeah, you have to practice. There's practice involved in doing anal sex appropriately and properly.
Offset. Most embarrassing moment offset.
Offset. I don't really have that many embarrassing moments offset. All my friends know me and expect retardedness from me.
Yeah, it doesn't
So
seem
I'm-
like shame is your forte.
I got for it, and I'm like, shit. Because most people that know me know that I'm ridiculously over the top.
Okay,
and it's
but like, come on, tell me a story where one time you got so drunk you pissed yourself in the taxi. Give me something like that. Or you got
No.
sick in your friend's shoes.
I've thrown up sucking a dick before.
Nice.
Oh, there we
nice.
go.
Yeah, there we go.
That's embarrassing, yeah.
more like, that's way worse
Yeah.
than the fart. That's way
Yeah,
worse than the fart.
Wait,
Well,
did you throw up on his dick or right, like on the
Yeah, for
concrete
sure.
floor?
Right there. I'm a big deep throat person. I love testing the boundaries of how long I can hold a shaft in my throat without needing to breathe and getting it around the balls and everything. I test myself. Long story short, I was a little overconfident one day, and
he was picking out the bits of carrot from his pubes for a week.
exactly. Oh, it was so embarrassing.
That's way embarrassing than the fart, Jeannie. Jesus.
Yeah.
Come on, how did you not think of that one?
But the fart could be kind of unfeminine. I mean, imagine
If you did it at the same time.
Oh no, that's that. Now there's a good story.
Oh my god, that shit would go viral. Yeah. Hey, if you want to relaunch your career,
Right?
Yeah, if you want to make the big time,
I can always
girl farts and get sick.
That's an AVN winner if I've ever seen one.
I gotta tell you guys, there are girls on cam that are getting paid to fart in spandex. It is a huge freaking little fetish or niche. I'm not gonna.
Form. I think South Park parodied that kind of thing.
Yeah,
fart porn.
Sounds like
there's some weird guys out there, right?
Oh my god! I mean, I just don't understand. You must be so, I don't know. I don't even know what creates that type of issue, but there's got to be something that creates that issue to where you're like, all right, I need to watch girls fart in spandex. Bad. Like, I'll pay you whatever you need.
Do any of your friends engage in that?
No, they wouldn't be my friends. I'd be too embarrassed.
Have you ever...
That's embarrassing to me. Farts are really embarrassing. I don't like them.
Yeah, me too. I don't think girls should ever fart in front of their man. I think they should,
run down to the gas station.
Run down the gas, take the keys, drive, into a field somewhere, run to the middle field, and then let it rip.
I'm like that.
You know what?
I'm very much like that. I'm so shy about certain issues of, I'm old-fashioned like that. I don't burp in front of people. I don't fart in front of people. I won't even enema in front of people on set. I will require that the door is closed, and I change a lot of times. I'm really private. So, yeah.
Are you in the shower right now?
I was washing my hands.
Oh, okay.
She felt dirty after that.
Yeah, she felt
the fart getting sick on some guy's
exactly
dick.
What just happened.
Really? Did you seriously? Did you just go, oh my god, I felt dirty.
I know. She used soap and Purell.
You heard. I subconsciously was like, I need to wash my hands.
Okay.
All
right. Now, what a lot of our readers want to know as well is, do you have any limits? This could be also on set or off set. Sexual limits.
Yeah, of course I do. Of course. It's always important to have some standards. You have to. I mean, if you girls are listening that want to be porn actresses, no one wants a girl who doesn't have some limitations. You must have some self-respect. For myself personally, I don't like it. I don't like to be degraded on certain levels. I don't like to appear as a child. I really have a strong feeling that is a very wrong thing to put out there in society.
When you say a child,
like a bad girl?
What do you mean as a child?
No. Like, I don't want to be depicted as anyone under the age of 18.
Oh, Jesus, so American-centric. In Europe, it's 16. 18, what's wrong? What's Americans hang up with 18 years old, seriously? There's nothing wrong with
sounds like a very rounded, even number, I guess.
So, God. Because the rape is an issue, and I really don't want to be socially responsible for...
You're referring to statutory rape in the United States?
Yeah. Yes.
But do you think that, in the average age of consent in Europe and pretty much most of the world is 16. So do you think if anyone, abides by the law in those countries, that's considered rape?
No, I feel like if that's your cultural way that you were familiarized with your sexuality and your limitations, that's fine. But out here, it's a certain way, and I just kind of like it. The longer a girl can have her innocence, the better. Because growing up is a really... Sex is a very testing, it can be a burden for some young women. And so I just encourage them to try it slowly and not to rush into being an adult. Enjoy your youth, enjoy your innocence. But when you're ready to turn into a woman, just know that you've got a lot ahead of you, a lot of stuff. Sex can be very convoluted trip. It's a lot to learn.
Now, what age did you lose your virginity?
I must have been 16 or something like that.
Oh, it's not so young.
Yeah, that's pretty average.
So I was around.
Say what?
I was around the age you guys were discussing, over there.
But going back to your limits, right? So you wouldn't do stuff where you basically look like a teenager or whatever. So what else?
Do you have any? Yeah, would you let a guy pee on you?
Actually, my first
Matt.
scene was with that.
Sorry, we just
That
the
was
last.
my, no, go ahead.
Really?
That
Go
was
on.
my first scene was with Max Hardcore.
Yeah.
And, granted, it is what it is, but
Your very
I
first
feel
scene.
strongly against that stuff. Like, I understand that he has a market for it, and the way that he described it to me is he's like, Jeanie, you're doing society a big favor. Believe it or not, there's lots of pedophiles out there. If you give them this material to consume in a safe environment, they're less likely to go out and, try to pick up on a young...
Bullshit.
Now,
Did you enter?
interesting. I actually was watching an interview that Ted Bundy did before he got put to death, and he was saying how the pornography of bondage and violence pornography fueled his fantasies even further until it fueled it so much that he went from magazines to videos to actually wanting to do it. Now, do you agree with the person you spoke to, or do you think it could also fuel a person?
Do you think you were influenced? That
it could influence.
I feel like it was. I feel like it perpetuates more violence. That's my personal opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
Fuels the fantasy almost.
Well, here's my whole thing. Like you guys were talking about quantum physics and morphic energy. If you put energy or time into something, well, you're gonna get something back. You're gonna reap what you sow. So I'd rather avoid the subject altogether, as far as performing it or
Okay, so don't pee on me. Don't dress me
Yeah,
up. Don't dress me up like a child. What
Right.
else? What else you got?
Yeah, that's about it.
But yeah,
I don't like to get beat up either, obviously. I don't like
Alright.
physical violence. So stuff like that. Just I don't like physical violence. I don't want to get beat up. I don't want to get hurt. I don't want to get peed on.
wait a minute. So wait a minute. You don't like to get shit on. You don't like pedophilia.
Yeah.
You don't like rape.
Yeah.
God, you're such a prude.
I suppose. I like to glamorize the more opulent side of the sex industry. Like, I like to show that women can actually take something like this and channel it and turn it into something positive. Wherever you're coming from, you could actually take that hurt, that pain, that doubt, or wherever you're coming from that attracted you to our industry.
Okay, so what was the
could take
pain?
whatever that
What
is.
was the pain? What was the doubt? You said you had a hard upbringing. What?
Who hurt you?
No.
I grew up in Vegas watching pimps beat the shit out of hookers. I just would watch it from my window or from a hotel or whatever. And it used to kill me inside. Like, it used to literally just kill me because I looked up to sex workers growing up. I'm like, wow, she's so brave. She's completely naked and vulnerable, and she has this big smile on her face like nothing in the world could touch her. And I just thought that was so vulnerable and beautiful. It just really touched me
Except
when
for
I saw
pimp
that.
Who gave her a punch?
And
in the face.
then I saw that, and then I saw other pretty girls walking around Vegas. I'm like, she's pretty. And then I'd seen some guy, always some guy, just coming up and scaring the shit out of these girls or beating them up. And that, to me, that's always been something I'm just kind of like, I don't like it, I don't like it at all. Nope.
That's interesting you mentioned about being a child and seeing that. I mean, if you go to Africa, like me and Dom have been to Africa a lot, and a lot of the girls, the prettiest girls in the villages and the prettiest girls will always be prostitutes because they're the ones who can have a luxurious lifestyle, they can live in their own place, they can afford their own phones. They're actually better off than the average girl who's an accountant or a lawyer, and girls who are pretty enough who actually do look up to these girls. So do you think a lot of that drive to be compared to the sex industry was environmental and seeing that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. The entertainment industry will always idolize youth and beauty. In fact, the entertainment industry is obsessed with it. We have an unhealthy, unnatural obsession with youth and beauty culture.
Do you think
So,
it's
yes,
unnatural?
Because
No.
both me.
No.
I'm sorry
Okay,
to interrupt
so
you.
not unnatural, but
Not unnatural.
Yeah.
It's called natural selection. It's the most natural thing out there. Actually, natural selection. That beautiful people and better traits and better
it's the
characteristics
genetic imperative.
will proceed. Absolutely. So I admire these pristine examples, and I hate seeing anything that will take them down. I just feel like they're model citizens that are beautiful and should be celebrated for it.
So do you think this war on, especially like modern feminism tries to kind of demonize men valuing youth and beauty and fertility? Do Do you kind of see that as contrary to, like, how do you deal with, like, do you
I hate
oppose it?
this new feminism thing because right now I'm living in a world where, like, the woman pays for half, the man pays for half. There is no men taking care of women anymore. There's just the manners, the things that used to exist, like the chivalry, like women being quiet and staying in their place. But the plus side would be that a man would take care of you and you could raise a family. I miss that old fashioned thinking. I think it was so quaint, and I feel feminism's kind of made it to where we're all equal now, and that kind of sucks because women need a protector and women need a provider. That's what makes you attractive to us, is your ability to provide for us or protect us. And kind of like with the way society's going, it's like women are, we're soldiers now, or, we're doing the jobs that men are doing, but it kind of kills the whole part of being a girl, which is being sensitive and feminine and letting a man do something for you once in a while. I kind of miss that.
Completely agree.
Yeah, I completely agree. A lot of girls see feminine as almost a dirty, derogatory word now, as if you're putting them down by saying it.
I agree, because I hate to say this, and it's probably because I'm not very educated on the subject, but I feel like these feminists, and I hate to say this, but they have like dyke mentalities, like I'm a woman and I'm going to take all men's stuff, everything that men do. We're just going to take over. It's not even about fairness or equality anymore. It's just about them taking over.
Yeah, almost like supremacy. Like, well,
yeah, they all need fucking short haircuts and tattoos and slingshots. Then they'll be happy. That's what they need. No, I'm sorry, that's ignorant comment, but I do feel like
it's not.
They're going a little far. They're going a little far there.
Yeah. I think men and women have different roles. I agree with you. And it's interesting, working in the industry that you do, you have those opinions as well, because you'd imagine people who would work in the sex industry would be quite socially liberal in that regard. But it's interesting to hear that you work in the industry, but you still value those kind of traditional gender roles.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, what's the point of being a beautiful woman if a powerful or successful man can't kind of keep you, if you don't want to be kept or possessed by a man. I mean, I know a lot of women don't like being...
Wait, did you change... Sorry to interrupt. Did you change something there in your microphone?
Yeah, the sound kind of shifted a little bit.
I apologize.
Yeah,
there we go.
Back.
We're better.
It's back.
Sorry, guys, over my hand.
All right, go for it.
I feel like it's important to be possessed sometimes. Sometimes women, it's our role to be submissive. I mean, we're not full of muscle. We're not full of, all these male genetic traits. We're women. We're soft. We're sensitive.
Jeannie, our audience is going to love you because, like, we're always talking about masculinity and this whole theme,
culture,
and you're right on point, and you're preaching to the choir here. It's good.
I'm a believer in all this androgyny. I mean, I see all this androgynous themes, like women taking on male roles, men taking on female roles. But at the same time, I mean, there's transgender people who are taking estrogen to become women, and what they're getting out of it is softer skin, softer hair, all these traits that are soft. So I think it's important as a woman to be feminine, represent feminine, being feminine.
Own your femininity.
Don't own feminism, own femininity.
Guys,
we're going for it.
Lead from behind. You can be soft and beautiful and gorgeous and run the show without ever opening your mouth. All you got to do, send a gaze. Yeah. Send a heavy-lidded gaze and run your own show.
It's like, you know what? I know you want to take over Greece, but if you take over France, I'll suck your dick. That's how it worked in the olden days, right?
Yeah, that's why Alexander the Great is what it is.
I really like Paris. They have really nice clothes. Seriously.
I just think it's important for women to take ownership of what it is to be feminine and to be submissive. You can lead from behind. Strength isn't always measured in physical brute power. Sometimes it's measured
for a book. Lead from behind.
Lead from behind.
Lead from behind.
That's also a good porn title.
It's a love story. I'm going to direct that. So.
That's a good porn movie also. Lead from behind.
Guys, we're going to take a short break because Mark has drank so much he needs to just go to the bathroom.
To the potty.
Just Hold on a
Just leading
second there,
behind.
Jeanie, right? Yeah.
Well,
One sec.
I can continue the interview.
All right, tell you what. Yeah, Dom will continue asking
I'll
questions.
continue the interview.
I trust him.
Okay.
And I'll be back.
Our
I'll be back in a
more,
minute. And I'm gonna bring beers, Dom.
Okay,
About that.
cool.
Okay, one
'Cause
sec.
I gotta run to the little boys' room soon too. So here's another question that our listeners we've gotten a lot of as well. Me and Mark just got into bondage. We both bought a sex bondage kit off Amazon. Do you have any sexual fantasies left, or have you completed all of them through your work?
Got plenty left. I'm always reinventing myself. Always. Always. I want to try sensory deprivation. I have this new thing with materials, like rubber. I love putting rubber in your body, getting really hot, working yourself up to an orgasm, and then shredding that rubber off, and so your skin gets all this oxygen. Really, I want to try that. I haven't. I fantasize about it. Silk, satin, textural things. And then in bondage, you have to be submissive before you can become dominant. So it's really a fascinating culture, you know. You guys, I recommend you guys get Order of the Raven. It is the manual for people becoming doms or dominatrixes, and you have to be a sub for a certain amount of years and be submissive to a dom before you can actually become, I guess, a respected dom or dominatrix. I personally started out kicking ass. I have a dominant personality, but a lot of people are a lot more emotionally and physically disciplined when they go through it that way, the organic process.
It's interesting. So do you have a favorite sex toy you've been using in the bedroom?
I'm pretty vanilla when it comes to what I like personally. I like my Hitachi, and I like penetration while getting clitoral stimulation, and then on occasion I like all three. You know, I like anal penetration, vaginal, and clitoral. I like it all, but it just depends. I have to be in a certain kind of mood to want a certain amount of sexuality. You can be physically drained and only want very light stimulation, like through your panties, or you can be highly aroused and want a completely carnal experience. It really just depends. A lot about oppression and repressed feelings. Oppressed feelings or repressed feelings and how they're expressed. It really depends on that.
And what is the best way to introduce bondage to a sexual partner that hasn't, I guess...
Feathers, silk, and a paddle. And that is the reward and denial process.
Okay. Sorry, can you repeat that one more time? You got cut off a bit.
I would recommend feathers, like ostrich feathers, a satin eye tie to tie around your eyes, and like a little leather paddle. And it's about reward and denial of reward. So first put the thing over their eyes. You have to create trust, and then once that's done, you start with the reward process, like ease someone into it with little feathers, a little tickling, kissing, and then from there, maybe denial. Maybe you tease them, you know, don't give them what they want. And then from there, when they want something, you give them a little smack on the tush or something like that, you know. So a little reward and deny.
So I just joined you guys.
You just
back
came
again.
in at
What are you guys talking about? What's going on? You talking about fantasies?
Yeah, we're talking about
talking-
favorite sex toys.
Oh,
I was telling her about the kit that we bought a little while ago.
yeah.
Yeah, off Amazon. And what's the
I-
best way to introduce bondage to a partner?
Start soft things like feathers, satin, ties, and maybe handcuffs. Maybe a very tiny butt plug or paddle. Very unassuming, very unintimidating. Phallic instrument.
Then take out the Destroyer 5000.
And you take out the black strap on and you say, "Here it is. Are you ready? Are you ready for the big leagues?"
Now, I'm very much myself into black chicks, and a lot of them, anal is a big no-no. What's a good way to introduce anal for in the bedroom?
You know what? It's a cultural thing. So if you can stimulate a girl intellectually, you can get past all the physical restraints that women have. It's all about trust. So if you can get a girl to trust you, like it starts with trust. You have to have trust. If you can intellectually stimulate a person, you can break down their moral or whatever inhibition they
I have
have.
to completely agree, Don. That's yeah. You girls who would never do anything will do things for the right guy.
If they trust you, if you've proven that you can protect them in a situation where they could potentially be hurt, you have a much higher chance of being able to enter them in physical areas where they wouldn't typically allow.
Dude, were you playing catch with these beers?
No, you
It's
put them
foaming.
that's because you put them in the freezer, dude.
Mm.
All right. Wait, where's the strangest place you've ever had sex?
In a private jet, on my way to Vegas.
Fancy.
No, come on, that's just boasting.
That's
Strange.
right.
That's just strange. How can I mention I was on a private jet having sex?
Well, it really was the oddest thing ever because just that would even be allowed on the air.
Well, it's
Yeah.
private. Everything goes.
Did you
no?
have like stewardesses who came up to you? Would you like a glass of champagne?
Would you like a strawberry flavored condom?
It was actually, if you guys want to hear, it was an incredibly crazy story. A friend of mine owned a
Go for
private
it.
jet, over there at the Van Nuys Flyaway. It was like right there next to Larry Flint's jet. We all got on, and it just became a crazy chemical, alcohol, flesh debauchery on the air. People were doing drugs and drinking and everything you can imagine and fucking group sex type situations. Crazy stuff like that.
That sounds like fun.
My kind of
Yeah,
party.
that sounds like fun. I'm not gonna lie. That
Fly.
sounds like super
Pretty
fun.
fly. And then we landed on top of the Venetian. So it was cool, that was pretty cool.
Ah, yes, that's the high life. But sorry, couldn't help it.
It was cool for sure.
Yeah.
Wait. I think you answered it. We got a tweet in here. Yeah. What's the most amount of orgasms you had in one day?
And do you count them?
Yes, of course I do. At 25 was the most I could take before I actually physically slept from exhaustion.
What? How much?
25? Is that humanly possible?
What's wrong with you?
Back to back.
You're a freak of nature.
Yeah.
25?
Was it with a girl or a guy?
I'm emasculated
I
now.
was-
The most
Or
I've ever given
several
a girl
guys.
was
I was
3.
alone.
Several.
I was alone with some black box porn. And I was frustrated.
What's black box porn?
When you can see a nipple through some snow and some bad, when the TV's screwed up because you don't have that channel, and you can kind of see a portion of it.
What?
Yeah, I was really.
You really like mystery.
So I'm gonna take a
you
little
just
bathroom
masturbate at
break
closed
myself.
boxes?
So
Alright,
you're gonna
Okay.
take this away, dude.
Okay, dude.
I'm going
I'll
to the
keep
little
asking
boys' room.
questions. I'll keep asking questions. Okay. Right. What else we got? Oh yeah, retirement. So what's in the game plan for retirement?
I plan to direct. If I can get a deal, I want to just continue to direct sexual activity because I feel like I have so much to share through experience, personal experience. It's outside. I got a lot to share through what I've done firsthand. And I really have a passion for the arts. And I've always wanted to be a director. And I've always wanted to be in the adult industry. And so I'm trying to find a way to make it a reality.
So do you imagine yourself, 7 years old, just in your director's chair, just going, "No, you've got to deep throat harder."
Yes. Without a shadow of a doubt.
On your
my
porch,
like my
directed in front of your.
Just like my predecessors, like Suze Randall.
Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That's what I
Do a
aspire.
lot of girls get into directing?
Do a lot of girls get into directing? No.
Yeah.
It's incredibly rare.
Yeah. I mean, it's always guys behind the other end of the camera.
I've noticed a big resurgence in that stuff lately. I've seen a lot of girls like Bonnie Rotten. There's a girl named Veronica Hart who was one of the first female directors. There are a few female directors. There's Suze Randall's. There's a few. And then who's the other one? I'm trying to think of them all because I don't want to forget anyone. But yeah, there's a few, but they're rare. Especially for them to be consistent. That's what's incredibly rare, to see them say, "Hey, I'm a director," and then consistently put out product. In my opinion, that's a director.
Do you see yourself having children?
Yes.
And if so, how many?
Whatever I get blessed with, I'd be happy for whatever I get. And if I can't have them myself, I plan to adopt. I will definitely have a child in my life at some point in my life.
Okay, this is a tricky question, right? So, your kid is 12, 13, and one of their friends at school says, "Hey, I know your mommy. I saw her on the internet." and he looks up you and he sees you in a gangbang or whatever.
The AVN nominated scene.
How would he deal? How would you deal with that situation?
You tell your child, chin up. I have more life experience to offer you than that person and their ignorant opinion. You know, that's an opinion of ignorance. It's an opinion of someone who hasn't experienced it firsthand. It's not a firsthand experience or account.
Wait. Whose opinion? Whose opinion? Oh,
whoever was challenging.
Their friend's opinion.
Whoever was challenging my child. If anyone ever challenged my child, I'd say, we're coming from a place, an educated place. We're coming from a place of firsthand experiences, and we have more knowledge on the subject. And I believe that's more powerful to have knowledge and experience than to not know.
So it sounds like that's almost sounds like a rehearsed answer. Have you dealt with that challenge before?
I've
thought about it previously.
Absolutely. I've been thinking about it since the day I've decided this is what I wanted to do. Because, I'm very traditional in the sense of I believe in God and I do believe in family and country and being patriotic. And I understand that what I do contradicts a lot of my beliefs and faiths. But at the same time, I need to survive. And this is the gift I've been given. So I'm not questioning it. I'm going by it, and I'm just dealing with each situation individually as they come.
All right.
I think that's a
fair answer.
That's a fair answer,
Yeah.
This is called porn. You'll watch a lot of it. I was in it before, and that's that.
And I can introduce you to some of
In
my
fact,
co-workers, little
if
Timmy.
you have a problem, exactly. He's like, "Mommy, bring your friends over." But
my kids will have the freedom to do whatever they want in their life.
do you think you'd
and
actually
have educated advice?
Do you envision that if you had daughters, they would get into the porn industry?
Would you like them to get into the porn industry?
I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. If it's in my blood.
It would make sense. I mean, there's money in it, right?
My whole attitude is I accept you for whatever it is that you aspire to be. And I just want to encourage it and nurture it, no matter what that is.
Positive vibes, man.
Positive vibe. And is that the vibe that your parents had with you?
Yes.
Enemies. Let's talk about enemies. Have you ever had stalkers or feminists who attack you, or guys who just follow you around or just hassle you? What negative haters? Let's talk about haters.
It's consistent. It's every day. It's every 5 minutes of the day, especially because I cam. And I'm sure if you guys are familiar with internet, you know what a troll is. There's people that make their whole careers.
Oh, I fucking know it, dude.
There's tons.
And my attitude is that
trolls try to ruin my life before.
That's what makes you a master. That's what makes you a professional, is your ability to deal with conflict and basically how you come out of it. And so that's what makes me an adult entertainer. That's what makes me a professional in my industry, is my ability to handle that gracefully and then to respond not with anger, but to try to understand and say, hey, sounds to me like you might be dealing with, maybe you have some issues that might be underneath, and let's bring them to light and let's accept them. Many times on cam, I've said, you know what? I have certain people that get mad at me, and I said, it sounds to me like you have a repressed anxiety about this. Let's explore this. I try to walk through it with the person who's critiquing me. If you're criticizing me, it's typically because you don't understand. Most people hate what they don't understand. If you can help them understand and you can come at them from a position of, hey, man, I understand this is frustrating and confusing for you. Let me walk you through what really bothers you about it. Let's try to get over this or through this or past this together. Maybe you'll, shed a little more light on it. Maybe you'll look at it differently now. Maybe you'll associate that positively instead of associating it negatively.
What kind of guys do you get that usually pay for webcamming services?
People I talk to, just like I just said, usually people that have criticized me, that I've broken it down to, like, hey, let's get through it. Usually those people are the people that stay with me longer than anyone. They appreciate it,
So basically, you found yourself on cam, and it's like, oh yeah, well, lick your right nipple, touch your vagina, and then it's all of a sudden, I hate you, and you're like, well, let's go through this situation, and it turns into a therapy session, and all of a sudden,
she's touching her left nipple first.
This is definitely hilarious. Sex therapy. It's definitely. I'm not even trying to make light of it. It's definitely, there's a psychological element to being a sex worker, definitely, because you're dealing with all of the men that have been hurt or disappointed, and it's up to you to try to heal them instead of further torture them.
Huh.
Are these usually sexually awkward men, or are these normal run-of-the-mill guys?
I'll just give you an example. There was a day I was camming, like you said, lick your right nipple, lick your left nipple, dress like this, put your feet in the air. And he started screaming and crying at me when I showed him my feet. There's a lot of people that like feet. And I said, hey, what's wrong? And he's like, nothing. Fucking hate my mother or something like that.
She used to stamp at me.
And yeah, and so I was like, you like my feet, right? And this all stemmed from you wanting to see my feet. I said, most people who have a sexual inclination to feet have some type of underlying issue with incest. Feet represent vulnerability and innocence. And so usually I can kind of get a read on people just based on their sexual tastes. So.
Oh, God. Okay, well, now, you know what? That's interesting. You just opened a can of worms there. So now you realize you just invited. So this is
you invited us to a free sexual therapy.
Analysis 101. What can you tell about us based on our sexual preference, right? Okay, so Dom, you shoot first, and I want you, Jeanie, to give your analysis.
Okay, so I'm more attracted to African American women.
Just African women.
African women, basically.
He went to Uganda twice in the last year.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I went and then I came back 6 months later. I'm an ass man myself. I usually like to be the dominant one in the bedroom.
No, but Jeanie, you don't understand.
I've already got a mark on it. You're not even.
Yeah,
done.
Jeanie, you don't understand. Every time you go to a bar, he just only goes to the black woman. There could be like a 9 who's a Russian or a Latina, and he's blindsided by, any mediocre black chick in the corner.
I know exactly what's going on.
It's too dumb.
Okay? I know exactly what's going on.
And my background is I'm Peruvian and Salvadorian. So
if that makes any difference.
Any difference.
Okay,
right?
so let's explore. Go for it.
Okay, it has to do with, like I said, oppressed and repressed feelings. And a lot of times, like I talked about men seeking submissive partners, sometimes an ultimate submissive, like when you think about I can't compare many of things that I've gone through to what the African American community has gone through. I've never been oppressed quite that way. So I can't relate that way, but all I can tell you is this, that sometimes that's the ultimate vulnerability to a person. You see a black woman, and, to me, sometimes it has to do with, wow, she's super vulnerable. I don't know if you've noticed it, but black women are really, really sweet. Because a lot of black men don't like their own women. It's common.
Yes, especially in Africa.
Right.
A lot of the dudes in Africa will just look past the 9 and will just see, even if she's a slob, will just go for the, any white tourist they see.
So wait. Are you saying, Jeanie,
it flatters masculinity, is what I'm trying to say. It flatters masculinity.
Boom.
Because
so you're saying, right? So wait a second. Here, we're revealing big truth here on Hangover Radio right now. So you're saying that Dom, his preference for black women is to do with, the whole history and slavery. It's kind of like the ultimate Donymous thing. It's like master and commander. Is that what you're saying?
You're a fucking troll, dude.
Sorry.
I mean, that's possible, but that's not the only reason.
So you're saying it flatters his masculinity in what way?
Because of the association with all those feminine traits of, those women are dominated more probably than any other group. And if you're a dom, then that would appeal to you.
Your name is Dom.
My name is
Torres.
Dom. This is true. All right, so now we're going to turn the tables on you, dude. We're going to psychoanalyze you.
Okay, so I'll give you, things have changed recently for me, but I went through a phase where I basically collected flags. So I would only be interested in sleeping with women from a different nationality. And I didn't count notches. I used to only count flags.
It's very continental of you.
Yeah, well, I travel a lot. I've been to 93 countries, and I just it ended up happening. And then on the internet, people were asking me these questions, and Jesus Christ, I started going to each country, kind of picking up the flag. It became like a mission, like a sport. I was sport fucking.
Yeah, it was juggling for all of us.
That
Do you
became
fancy
my fetish.
yourself an international man, or a worldly man, or a traveled man, or a cultured man?
Yeah.
Do you fancy that? I mean, do you ever? And it's okay, because I fancy myself that, to be very cultured, and and intellectual. And I feel like if you're trying to date all these different people from all these different nations, it sounds to me like you're, again, trying to flatter your own masculinity because you want to fancy yourself as an international, continental, worldly, traveled, educated man. So that, again, flatters your masculinity.
So we're both trying to flatter our
Well,
masculinity.
men are always trying to do that. I mean,
be more masculine. Yeah, be more masculine. I mean, that's the idea, right?
That is the idea.
If you're a straight man, that's usually your agenda. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but it's funny though. Yes, that's in a way, you're quite intelligent to make that observation, but it's quite obvious because modern men need ways to express their masculinity. In ancient times, one could go and behead people. They could go into fights. They could war. We had ways to exercise our violence and our natural masculine tendencies. But in the modern,
surviving was something we earned. It wasn't a privilege.
Yeah, so in the modern age, we try to exercise our masculinity vicariously, video games, sport.
I think it's right into genetics and natural selection.
Voila.
And Mendel's theory, if you know anything about genetics and Mendel's theory, that every 3 generations there's a skip. So basically, if you have very, very prominent dominant male genetics, then the only thing that's more flattering than a more alpha would be something that is feminine, because that levels you out. The more delicate and feminine you are, the better it is for you to pass on your genetic traits. You're more amicable. Mark.
It's yin yang.
Exactly. Balance.
So the whole thing about flattering your masculinity, that is fairly
accurate. I would say that's
answer,
accurate.
but I think most, it's probably, you could say that answer for any
fellow,
fetish, right?
Yeah. Any fellow trying to pick up a girl.
It's a pretty accurate one for why men go about their conquest the way they do. It's about running from discomfort and running towards comfort. And anything that reminds you of yourself or mirrors you of yourself, you're not going to be attracted to, really. I mean, if you're a man, most men don't typically want to be with a man. They want to be with something that reflects differently, that reflects the opposite.
So why would you say Mark tries to flatter his masculinity the way he does?
Maybe you have some repression about feeling undereducated, or possibly coming from a situation of not having enough stimulation culturally or whatever. I mean, I'm just taking a stab in the dark here. I have no idea where you're coming from or what your background is, or maybe that's just something you admire, and that's the way that you're going about attaining.
I think definitely the admiration. Like I'm quite educated, I have a master's, and I came from quite a nice family, and definitely admire. I think it was more that I used to watch Indiana Jones and James Bond, and I love these are the heroes of my childhood, and maybe it's emulation more than
that's what it could be that.
Yeah.
Because for me, that's what it is. That's why I'm here, is because I admire it, and mimicry is the most sincere form of flattery. So typically I'll mirror certain things that I like. Just depends.
Yeah, and for me, it's quite kind of opposites attract. I was more of the nerdy kid in school, and I would the way the media portrayed African American women were always as, strong and badass, and that's kind of what I was more attracted to at the time, and I think it kind of stuck.
Was it like you were hunting whale of some sort, or you need that was like the big catch? I'm not following you.
Well, when you see the media, you see as African American women as less likely to take shit than...
They're sassy. They've always
been sassy. Right, they're sassy.
They're smart, they're witty, they're quick-tongued. They don't take no shit. They don't take no jive.
Yeah, exactly. And I took a lot of shit growing up.
Actually,
okay, and that has to do with repression and oppression. So if you grew up with a lot of shit, in your life, then when you look at that, you're like, damn. That's not even a factor in her life. That's not even a factor in that girl's life. She doesn't know what a day of that's like, because she stands on
minute.
Right?
I'm gonna press her to
right?
get
Ah,
one
you're a
back.
dick.
So it's
Dude.
probably
I'm sorry.
admiration, which is totally cool. That's the right.
Admiration.
Yeah,
That's the right-
admiration is a better
Wow,
word.
wow. Then that's it's an insight. Admiration.
I like that better.
You
Yeah.
admire that, and
I
you know
admire
what?
that, and
Admiration.
I, you know,
And,
pers-
and the
pursue
fat
that.
asses and the hip to waist ratios
Okay, that-
kind of help.
That helps. Yeah, that helps.
Yeah.
That
Oh.
helps a ton.
And that's a really healthy reason to be attracted to someone. Just by the way, that is the healthiest response you could possibly have.
What, hip to waist ratios?
Yeah, that part. No, the thing where you admire someone and that's the reason why you're sexually
Aw,
attracted.
yeah, it is. It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, there we go. We have mystery solved.
Nice.
Yeah,
Cracking
Yeah.
the vagina code.
yeah, which is the title of
Which is the title of this
Jeannie's
podcast.
next book.
Right.
You can pick it up on Amazon. Cracking the vagina code.
Demystifying
Secrets from porn
vaginas everywhere.
Okay, listen, Jeannie, it's been great talking to you. I think
Absolute pleasure.
it's been a
Thanks.
journey, and you know what? We didn't talk about sex a lot, which is good. In a weird way. I didn't want to just talk about when was the last time you
How many penis have you had?
Actually, that's why I really washed my hands when we were talking earlier.
we could have asked the dirty questions, but we went a little deeper. Hangover Radio is about sexuality at its core, not the
Not the shallow
surface
part.
structure part.
Intellectual standpoint of the woman, and I feel like that's what you men need to focus on, is what we're intellectually attracted to. And I just wanted to kind of give you guys some exposure to that and how we tick and what turns us on and kind of how it.
I see what turns you on. I just got a tweet from you that said, "Getting horny now, talking to the sexy Irish accent."
Yes, right. And I feel continental too now.
You like that, love, yeah?
I'm feeling continental myself. Hey, what flags can I get? I can get the Irish one. I'm excited.
You don't have your Irish flag yet.
I need to fly one right now, right over my.
All right. Well, next time we're in New York, you can tweet me or whatever.
Okay, got it.
All right. Listen, it's been great. Sorry, we just had a Russian girl crawl into our room on her hands and knees
And
to steal a pair of shoes.
steal a pair of shoes,
Hey,
right?
baby,
Okay.
that's fucking right. I love that. Woo!
That's actually true. It just happened. They tried to do it silently, and they was like, "That's
I want to like
yeah.
that. I want to see what's going on in your guys' house. Okay, that's
yeah, you do actually."
There's a ton going on.
Yeah, it's an interesting house right
Very
now.
interesting house.
I like it.
So, listen, great talking to you. For people who want to
Contact you, tell us where we could find you.
I'm on Twitter at XXXJMS, and I'm very active. I talk to everybody who comes onto my Twitter. Everybody. If you acknowledge me, I acknowledge you. I don't follow anybody, so I don't do that. I don't like playing favorites and playing politics on social media. It's a stupid waste of energy. But if you talk to me, I'm very active and vocal on my page. I love to talk to people and get their perspectives. And I've learned to love criticism. So anything you guys can tell me about my work that you're like, I like this, or I don't like that, or I'd like to see more, please. I welcome it.
Dom was trying to convince me. I haven't watched porn in 2 years, and he was trying to convince me. He goes, "Just watch your videos. It's
research,
I
dude."
I couldn't do it. But I saw some pictures of you. You know what? You're not a bad-looking girl, and that's all I'm saying. I didn't look at your videos, but I'm sure you're quite a talented girl.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I consider myself a healer. It's all for medical purposes. If it helps you justify viewing my content. It's good for you. You should watch.
A healer. That's it. Pornstar/healer.
Slash healer, head doctor.
Details. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
It's definitely been a pleasure. Great having you.
Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Hope to speak with you soon.
All right. Take care.
Same here. Take care.
Well, that was some interview, Dom.
That was perhaps our best one yet.
It was right up there. I mean, I couldn't think of a better interview to end the show with. Guys, it's been a great season. Dom is on this Tuesday, which will probably be, by the time this show is aired, Dom will be in Romania. Sad to say, guy, Dom, I'm going to miss you.
I'm gonna miss you
I'm
too,
going to miss
buddy.
your stupid ass.
Yeah.
I'm going to need a new wingman for New York.
Yeah, and who's gonna
I'll be
spill
holding
beer
auditions
on your
next Friday.
floor? You fuck.
Thank you so much for listening. Really appreciate all the comments, all the feedback. Without
We love you guys.
Yeah, we love you guys. And without
Yeah.
you, there'd be no show. Without you, there would be no show.
Yeah,
Guys,
this is
It's goodbye. It's time to goodbye, Tom. It's been wonderful.
I have no words right now.
Okay, it's cool.
I have no words right now.
It's okay. Hold me,
I
Dom.
hate goodbyes.
Just don't say anything.
Just leave. Just let the music take you away.
Cue the music. Cue the music. Cue the romantic music. Bye, guys. At 99.com. www.99.com. You can check out my new book on Amazon. Find me on Facebook.
Tweet me. Top doors 04. Make the pain go away.
I'll tweet you now. I'll tweet you all the time. Guys, goodbye. This has been Hangover Radio, season finale.
Adios.
Screwed, it's trashy, it ain't too classy. It's Hangover Radio.